am streaming in the middle of the night. Well, it's 4:30 in the morning for me. I couldn't sleep, so I figured, fuck it, let's work on this game some more. And I've been thinking about it. Um, there's a couple of things that we're gonna change already, but first let's make sure that it works how it did last time. This is usually what I do. I also set this to maximize so you can see our beautiful game. So all we did last time was we made this panel that has the owner name, population, and if you click on one of yours, it shows the owner, which is the player, the province, which is the name of the province, and the population. But if you click on somebody else's, it shows this stuff, but we don't know what the population is here because we don't own it. And then we also can create a unit, which is just this dot. It doesn't do anything except that when you click on it, it tells the name down there. So that's basically all we did. Today, all we're going to work on is time setting. So timekeeping, like a clock. We need to keep track of the time for units, because we're not going to have the units just they're going to take time to move between. Because once again, think of like CK3. We're not trying to make a CK3 clone, but we're going to use a lot of the examples on there. That is not the goal. We're not trying to clone CK3. We're just using it as examples. But when you click with your unit, if we go back to the scene here and we turn this, I instantiated it, so the unit's not here. When you click on your unit though, and you right click in CK3 and send it somewhere, it doesn't just teleport over there. We need it to take time to get there. And the other thing I thought of is we actually need another, we're going to duplicate this, we're going to make it south. And I just duplicated this one because it's blue. And then we're going to move it wherever it is here. 0, -5. Whoa. -0.5? No, -1. Because we want two that are owned by the same, are adjacent and owned by this. Well, they're all adjacent, but are owned by the player. Because what we want to do in this, we'll save that. And we'll do, I think it was under world map load is where we're setting these things up. Because we want to have another province that's owned by the player to move the unit back and forth to. So I just wanted to do this before we got going here. And the other thing I was thinking about is I feel like independent nations are kind of outdated. And what I mean is, like in Dominions, so Dominions 5 will be another game we'll get ideas from, we'll steal from. So in Dominions 5, you have your nations and then there's independent nations. Civ does the same thing, I think. I haven't played Civ in a long time. Most old school games have like intelligent AI controlled nations and then independent nations that just sit there. We're going to, and that's originally what I was saying. I was like, okay, we'll have AI controlled nations, then we'll have independent nations. And I actually changed my mind on that. I don't think we should have independent nations. I think what we should have is all of them intelligent based, we'll just call this enemy 1. And then we'll make this enemy 2. These will be 2 different, and we'll change their population just so that they're a different number. Oh, we had the same number there too. We'll say 6,000. And we just want a different number, so to see if things are changing how we want, or not be able to be seen. And then we need another one of these. That's gonna be south. So I think what we'll do is we'll either, and we can change this as time passes. We're like way far from even doing any of this shit. Anything that's really important. Right now we're just getting the very basic concepts going. We're gonna do all the basic stuff, the most basic of all of each thing that the game can do. So we're gonna go through the whole game, make it as basic as possible. Once it can do everything we want the game to do, build, espionage, all that shit. The most basic version of that. Once that's all completed, done, and we can actually play the game, even though it will be horrible, boring, shitty game, but we'll be able to play the game from start to finish. Once we've done that, then we'll go back through and do like a mid-range build where we'll expand everything. We'll put like a real map, but instead of doing the whole map, we'll do like a small portion of the map, and then we'll expand each thing again. And then once everything's done how we want it, we'll expand it again to the real full map. This is all, like I said, like 5 years out. This is going to take like 6,000 years to finish. I said 6,000 because I was about to put 6,000 here, but we actually don't want 6,000. We want a different number. So, and the computer should now know. So this is a list, or it's actually a dictionary list. And the computer, well, the computer doesn't know anything. When we click on stuff, it should know that we own these ones because it's comparing, who the player is versus who the enemy is. Oh, but we need to change this too. Actually, this is a terrible idea. Look at this half-ass shit. This is never gonna work. I just fuck. See, this is why I do it this way. Um, this is why I build the game slowly. When I'm working on a game, I start out as like these small chunks because I immediately see issues. And even though it's a half-ass start, well, let's just see what happens, just for fun. Let's see if we can get some bugs happening. It's gonna recompiler. I am more tired than I normally am when I stream. I also usually take a shower before I stream just to like liven myself up, but I don't know. We'll hit play on this. So we got two different provinces. We should be able to click on both of these and they should show. Yeah, so the province name is South, the province name is West, and the player owns it. We click on this one. It doesn't know who we don't know the population. We don't know that. Well, that worked. I don't know if we're using enemy player or enemy name yet. It will bug out at some point because we need something. Because we have an enemy 2 here, but it doesn't matter. I don't even think we're using this, like I said yet. Enemy name. That will change later. We'll get all that stuff later. But tonight, hopefully, and it shouldn't take very long. We're going to do the timekeeping, and I loaded up my other game that is a private. This is all open source code. I have another game that I'm working on called Cult. It's like private, closed source, but I already did a time thing there, so that will make it easier. So first thing we want to do, province panel. We got that on the UI. We're gonna add a new panel, UI panel, and we're gonna call this panel. I'm actually gonna call it clock because that's basically all it. Oh no, we can't call that. We're gonna call it timekeeper because it's more than that. Timekeeper. I'm very into, and I'm going to rearrange this because it's above. I like to put this in order of what it is on, like from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, if that makes sense. Timekeeper is going to be at the top. We're going to double click on it. We don't want it this giant. We want it to be on a bar at the top. So we're just going to drag this up here. And we're going to use this thing. Hold down Alt and click that. And I don't know why we do that. But I do. I do it on all this stuff. I think the reason that you want to do that is because when you change the size of your screen, you want this shit to be stuck to the top. But if I change the size, yeah, see, now it's too wide. So we'll have to figure out, I don't know how to do that. So we'll have to figure out how to make that, see, this whole thing, we want it to scale according to the screen size. In fact, there is something called a canvas scaler. Scale with screen size. What happens when we do that? Oh, that made it worse. What's my... well, we'll fuck with that later. I've never fucked with that. In fact, let's do that. Let's do this. So, last time... GitHub... we started adding a few items to the GitHub for this. And the real-time gladiator is a different one. We have projects. We can look at the projects that we're working on. And oh man, I renamed the one thing. Can I rename this one? I decided not to call it real time because I think people will think that I'm making like that we are making a like real-time strategy game like StarCraft or something. And that's not what we're doing. Well, that's a different type of real time. I just meant that time passes and you can hit space to make time stop passing, which is what we'll do. So we're create basic military. Oh, I want to change how this view looks. I don't know why this defaults back to this. So basically, I said create basic military units. That is kind of done, but it's also kind of not done. Let's just put it back here. Unit movement, like this is going to be, I guess it is done. And we're going to not call them units, though, actually. I want to call them armies. I changed my mind about that, too. So I was thinking, originally you would build units and group the units and move the units around, but I think we want to group them as armies, and each army will have to have a leader, kind of like Heroes of Might and Magic. I'm just going to say this is done. Put it here, because it is done. This is done. This is done, but we'll need a ton of work later. I don't know. Everything will, just like everything will. I don't know why I'm commenting on that. We know it's not done. Hey, didn't I just say you were closed? What are you doing? There you go. It took a while. All right, so we're gonna put. Like I was saying the other one. I like to not only keep track of things in here, but it encourages me to mark things as done. So keep track of time is what we're gonna work on tonight. But what was the thing I was gonna add to this? I already forgot. So I am more tired. I was like contemplating this for like an hour. Should I stream that? No. Yes. Oh, I don't know. It takes a lot of brain power to. I can't even get to the goddamn game. There it is. Oh, this is it. We were gonna say fix. We're gonna add another one. Figure out how canvas scaling works. Basically, we want this to. We want to be able to use this game on a variety of different screen sizes. I like to, the most used screen right now is a 1920 by 1080. So that's what we work on the game is, we'll work on this game for a long time, or on this size for a long time, and then eventually though we are going to have to make it work with other things. So I try to like think ahead of how that's going to work, but I've never even messed with this. So this is like, yeah, this is ugly as fuck. Shrink. Match width or height. Yeah, we'll have to figure out how this works. You can like change. We probably would want width actually. Now I am all messing around with this. But see how much goes off to the sides. And then we would change this to 1080. Well, we'll leave that like this just for the fuck of it. I mean, no, I guess, whatever. Yeah, we'll leave. So I don't want to get too sidetracked. Now I was like, I am just going to fuck with this. And that's how I normally program. I get sidetracked and fuck with something for a while. But no, we're staying on task today. So we have this bar up here. And what we're going to need on this bar is the timekeeper. We're going to need a clock. We're going to call it, what did I call it on this other one? I called it, so I have like all this other stuff. Day display, because it displays the day. And then time display. That's actually not a bad name. So we're going to start in year 0 though, because it's going to be right up across, and I keep rethinking this too, right after the apocalypse, but we don't have to do like historical dates or anything. So we're going to need first here, down here, we're going to need a Text Mesh Pro attached to this, and we'll call this day text. And then we're going to need another one of these called time text. And so we'll have the day and the time text. And right now they're stacked on top of each other, but we want this one to actually be anchored over to the left. This one will have the day and then the time. Yeah, we want this one to be anchored to the left. So we'll hold this down, do that. So it's anchored there. So I want this one to be next to it, but I actually don't know how to do that either. So we'll just manually drag. Like I want it to stay the same. There's like a lot of little things, especially with the UI. I don't know how to do, but we'll put it in here. We'll say day 1, just as a reference to how much size. That's kind of ugly. Kind of too ugly. Yeah, it's too up at the top there. So what's going on with this thing? Make it like that big. We might get to like day 10,000 or something. We could put them both in there. We could put them both in the same text thing. Let's do that, actually. day and time. Let's put them both in here, and we'll just make it manually expand, which I'm not doing in my other game, I don't think. Anyways, this is still over to the side too much, so we can go down to the extra settings, and on the left we can have, what does like a 50 do? That's too much. 10. I don't like how the Y is hanging over that. But 10 looks fine. If we auto size this, what happens? Nothing. Well, it does change down to that. Maximum, we'll say 30. Is that centered? No, we want it to be left. Is this centered here? That's centered there. Man, I somehow fucked up my shoulder. I've been whining about this for like weeks now. All right, but that will work for what we want temporarily. And then we're going to need a new script. So we're going to create a script. And, oh, I was waiting patiently for it to do something. And we're going to call it Timekeeper. Remember, no spaces in this. No spaces. Spaces up here. At least I do spaces up here. And then we do no spaces down here. We actually are going to use update. So this is another thing I try to do, which is never use update for anything. If possible, never use update. It is required sometimes, and this is going to be one of those times where we're going to have to use it. Because how we keep the time is we count the frames, how many frames have passed. And the computer does that automatically. And so we just got to like basically keep track of it. That's what I'm calling it, Timekeeper. Anyways, back looking at this, we're gonna copy this crap over. This will be our keeping track of the seconds, minutes, hours, and days. I don't remember why I was when I looked at this earlier and I was like, why did I make that as 1? I think in that one we're gonna have it start as 1. The reason why you gotta have a float for seconds is because we're gonna need the partial seconds. We're not gonna have whole seconds that we're counting because they go by so fast. And we actually can put this to 0. We can start this out at 0. So we got that part. We are going to need another, we'll do this serialized field here. Serialized field. And I'm going to, this is going to be a text mesh pro UGY. We're going to call this day and time text, because we're going to do both in the same thing. Unless it becomes a big clusterfuck of pain, then we won't do both. But I think it should be pretty easy off of off my sleep deprived mind. I was like, yes, that will be the easy way. I also like to break these up. Save that fucker. And next, let's copy over. Oh, I have a lighting in my other one, so I was like, what is all this stuff? So first we're going to copy over this thing. We don't need this other. We don't need this. Though that is a good idea to have that there. Actually, let's undo that. We're going to do another one of these. We're going to call it a public. I can't remember why I made all these public either. I think so other. You know, I learned how to do this from a YouTube video, and I'm wondering if they did public. I'm not a big fan of making everything public, but YouTube videos usually do. Like if you watch tutorials, they're just like public this, public that. I don't think you should do that. You should actually do private everything, and because sometimes you don't want that shit. You don't want people to. You don't want these things to get confused between shit. So let's make all this shit private, and then we'll deal with it later. Let's do that. I don't know why I made these public in my other one. Like I said, I think I got it from the tutorial. They made it all public. I might be accessing this stuff in other places, but if we do that, we can just make them public. This one, though, we do want public, and we're going to call it ticks. And I have a whole scriptable object in my other game that's what this is referencing. But we're not going to do a scriptable objects right now. And the reason we want this one public is so that we can. What's your problem? Oh, right. We don't want it a scriptable object because, oh wait, we want it public. That's what I was talking about. Because we want to be able to change it in the inspector. I guess we can, no, we can just make it a private with a serialized field. Let's do that. Serialized field makes you, if you do it here and make it private, it will allow you to adjust it in the inspector. So everything is private, which is what we want. And we want this to be changed to ticks. And like I said, I'll tell you what we're doing here. And this should all be the same all the way down here. We don't need this crap. This is for control PPVs that make it night and day. We'll make it night and day at a different time. That we'll add that to the list. We got this list of shit that we're doing, so we'll just add that in there. Cycle. And then I also want seasons. I thought about that. Whoops. We want seasons too. So we'll have that. I like to make them into small things. You know, seasons, and like each one of these is their own little thing. Everything as small as possible. This list on the left is going to get massive. As we think of things, we'll add them in. But right now, we only have these 6 things. It's still going to take us 60 years to get this shit done. But that's okay. All right, what was I doing? Back to this. I really need to rename this on this time side. So anyways, this thing is going to calculate the time. It's going to use to calculate seconds, minutes, and hours. Yep, that's what that does. I think that I copied and pasted this from someone else's code. I can tell because I probably would have expelled out these words. Anyways, calculate time. So seconds equals time dot fixed delta time. That is how you do. So I had to actually do this. Fixed delta time is so that we can pause stuff, and also certain things are affected by physics and other things aren't. And so the tutorial probably originally said just time dot delta time like that, and it would work until, well, I guess it wouldn't work. I don't know what I'm missing something. Oh, it's a little d. That would work, but we want to use fixed delta time because we don't want to fix this later. Fixed delta time counts it differently, and it makes it, like I said, so certain things aren't affected, and we'll see that. Actually, let's leave it in delta time, and then when that breaks, we'll when this breaks, turn it to fixed delta time. Okay. So the seconds is equal to time delta time, which is like the timekeeping that Unity does already, and it's multiplied by the number of ticks, which is this thing that we want to be able to access from the inspector, so we can change the number to slow down time and update time to kind of figure out how fast we want it to go. We'll start like really high, like 500 or 1,000. So it's multiplying that, and then so that's what it's gonna add that on here. The seconds. And so every time it's over 60 seconds, it's going to add a minute, and it's going to reset the seconds back to 0. And then every time it's over, minutes is over equal to or above 60, it's going to reset that back to 0 and make it 1 hour. And then after 24 hours, it's going to reset, give us 1 day. And that is that. So that is the, what we can do down here too, just to test this. Time. This is going to look dumb, but you know what? We can make this not look dumb. I just got to remember where there's a way to format it. I just can't remember what it is. Here it is right here. String.format. We're going to use this later anyways, so we're only using minutes and hours in here. Was that from a debug log? I was going to copy the whole thing. This might not actually. Well, let's see what this does. We got an extra thing in here. Let's see what this does. What are you expecting? Oh, we need 1 more of these. There we go. And now let's see what this prints to the the debug log. It should be just like a ton of crap. Flying and, oh, I didn't attach it to anything. Classic maneuver here. That script obviously has to be attached to something. I think we'll just attach it to this. To the controller. We can take it off, move it around later. Ticks, we'll do 500, like I said. 0 would have made nothing happen. Actually, let's leave it at 0 and see what happens. Just curious. Should be 0 times 0 plus 0, you know? It shouldn't do shit. Oh, we didn't want it on maximize either here. I like to test things all the time. We want this on focused. That way it's going to play it in this little game thing here, and we can look at the console. I didn't actually see it print anything to the console, so I think we already got issues going on. Yeah, we already got issues going on. Maybe because it's 0? No, we have our stuff set up wrong. This debug log is probably in the wrong place. Seconds. Oh, we never put calc time anywhere. We just made a function and didn't do anything with it. So let's put it here. We gotta have it in update for now. For now, we have to have it in an update. And we'll actually have it in update later too. And we'll put it here. I mean, we're not gonna put it there. We're gonna put something else. We're gonna put the text once we figure out what speed we want it. Yeah, so this is gonna just be zeros forever. So let's put this at like 500 and see what we got. I'm getting 500 because the other game I worked on. And this is only going to show minutes. Is that what it's doing? So that kind of looks like a lot. But remember, we're going to be doing time. So that's 1 hour of day. So, you know, on a kingdom scale, you know, we're only to hour 2. So 500 is pretty slow. You know, now we're to hour 3 on the kingdom scale. So yeah, we might want to leave that as the base time though. So we'll leave that as 500 for now, and then we're gonna change. So like I said, this is just showing hours and minutes. We're not even looking at seconds right now. We probably could get rid of seconds, but we'll leave seconds in there for now. And I'll put a little note in here and say we probably could get, but just in case we need it later, we will leave it there. Okay, so what we also need to do though, and this, like I said, this is gonna be the one of the few things that we're gonna keep an update, because it actually needs to update all the time. I guess we could try one of the getters and setters. Let me think here. We could. Let's do it first and update. I don't like the name calc time. That's definitely someone else's. That's someone else's function name. Not a big abbreviator in programming. I like to just have these function names that are 70 words long. We're gonna call this. I'm gonna call it the clock. I mean, it is the clock. It is the clock. I mean, right? I mean, it's a timekeeper, but I don't want to name it the same as this. Keeper of time. I mean, it's just a clock. That's all it is. All right, we'll leave it as clock. I mean, we can't get any more descriptive than that. It's a goddamn clock. Yeah, this is someone else's. This is someone else's stuff. I can tell. YouTube videos. You know, that's where you get all your information. I've watched so many of these things at this point. But we also want this to update this thing, the daytime text. So at the bottom here, we can actually just say daytime text equals, and we're gonna do that. We're just gonna copy this shit over. It's gonna be a string. But we also want, and I don't know how to do. Oh, I do know how to do this, I think. Let's see. This is gonna be day colon. I fucked something up here. Space plus days. We want another space in there plus string. We got a lot of, it's unhappy with something, expects. I think what we're gonna have to do actually is make this a variable or something. So it wants one thing. It doesn't want all of this. Can we put it in here? Can we put this in here? Let's find out. Cut. Still doesn't like this space in here. Well, what happens if we get rid of the space? Oh, now it really hates us. Wonder. Well, let's do that. Before we get too carried away, let's make sure this shit works. Now I fucked something up. I need a quote in here. Quote, comma. Oh, is this never gonna work? Can I not put this in here? Oh, I know what the problem is for this part. Dot text. Alright, so we got something extra in here. There we go. Let's see what this does. Before we start fucking around. I like to, baby steps. Come on. And then we gotta put this over here. Like I said, I hate dragging shit over here, but for simple, if it's just one item like that, I don't have a problem with that. We just want to see what this says now. Okay, so it is keeping track of the time. It wrote over day. That's what we're gonna try to put the day in there all at once. Yeah, I don't think we want this actually in. I think we can get away with that getter setter thing I just learned, and we can put that down there. So how am I going to do this? Can I do this with just, let's say days plus, and then what does this do? What will this look like? This is how I program. I don't know how to do. Just keep randomly typing shit until something appears. And so a 0 should be up here. They're going to be splat against each other though. Okay, yeah, so that works. It works in the fact that it works, but it's not. Let's see. So why can't I put words in here? Equals, maybe it's because I didn't have the dot text in there. Days plus, well, see, that works. Now I want a space between this shit, though. Did I miss? I think I was forgetting another plus sign. Plus a space, and a comma would be nice. And then another space? Sure. Let's hit save there and see if this works. It's called Problem Solving with Lord Haywire. I do the monkey thing. If there's enough monkeys who can type enough times, you'll solve the problem. Oh, except we don't want it to say days. And we don't want that thing. I mean, that works. It looks ugly as shit. We'll fix that, though. Do we want to do a getter setter here? I'm thinking, yes, I think we do. It's still going to put up a thing, though, like every second it's going to do that. I guess it doesn't. First off, we can get rid of this thing. No, let's leave that there temporarily. We want this not to have this. First off, we want that to be like that. We want a space. We want this to be here. We don't want this to be here. We'll hit save. And so it's day 0. And I mean, we probably should put like, no, I don't think we need to do that. I think this is fine. It's 1 a.m. So like I said, we're gonna use this. We're not gonna mess with this. This is just to kind of figure out like this time seems like it's going really slow if we're talking to like at a kingdom rate. But see, we can speed it up just by changing these ticks. So as we develop the game, we might figure out that time needs to go faster or slower. As the base time, right now tonight we're going to set it up so the player can also change the speed of the speed of time. That's fine. I guess this would be really slow, but we're going to be able to pause it with spacebar as well. I mean, we're not even a day into the first day, and it's been, I don't know, 45 minutes since we did that. But that works. That does what we want it to do. Once again, I don't feel like it. I feel like it shouldn't be in updates. How would we do that? So the clock has to run. No, it has to be an update. Because if it's not an update, it's not gonna be. Actually, I think it should be in fixed update. Did I put it in fixed update in my other one? Let me look. I did. I put it in fixed update. It should be fixed update. So fixed update makes it so it's the time is being so it's checking the frames are set out at a regular interval. Update, they just come out whenever they come out. Fixed update, they're at a regular interval. So that's how. And I guess we'll just leave the clock in there. You know, one thing in update isn't that bad. We'll save this shit. And next step. The next step is the buttons. We want for the speeding up of time. And I like to put it over here. You know, so we're going to need some buttons on here too. We're going to add a button. And I remember I was having some weird shit happen with these buttons. We don't want them that big though. We want them like 30 by 30, right? We'll have little squares. We'll change this text to X1. So that's, you know, that's the one speed. Well, X1 this one too. And then we'll duplicate this button, Control D, Control D, Control D. Let's do one more. Let's do a time 8. Oh, actually, I think I have too many. Times 2, X2, X4, and then X8. We don't need this last one. And you know what we can do here with these buttons? What did I do? Oh, Jesus Christ. I fucked it all up. All right. We wanted to duplicate that. X1 button. X2 button. 3. What? 3? I am a lot more tired than I thought. I guess I did all these same type of mistakes in my last video, so whatever. Okay. So we get all these buttons, but I think actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an empty object. I'm going to call them, actually I'm going to call these time buttons. And I'm going to put these all underneath it. That way we can move all the buttons around as one. See, they have position 0. So if we move this whole thing, if we go back to the scene here, if we move this whole thing, it's going to move all the buttons. And so that way when we get the buttons sorted how we want them, we can move them around as a group. And because we might want to change like how they are, their spacing and stuff inside the thing, but we might not, you know. So we'll want to, I just like to have them organized. And I like everything kind of organized. I'm a big organization guy. What is this? You know, we could even do this and stick this over here. So what does position 0 look? Yeah, that's perfect. Undo that. We actually want this width, height of 40, huh? I thought this height was 20. So, well, 300. And then we will, with each button here, I have a thing turned on that makes these. This is supposed to give you like a hint of how they move their mouse to click stuff, so you can see I guess, you know, how it looks, um, how much how much they have to move their mouse around on the screen to do shit, which is nice to have sometimes. That's why I have it turned on. I can't remember where to turn it off either. Let's move. That doesn't look centered to me. It should be 10, no, 5 and 5. It's at 0. All right, I guess it's centered. Uh, let's move this one. Oh, wrong direction. Wrong direction. That looks kind of close. Let's change the text on this. I know I already. Oh. X2. We won't probably ever change the text on these buttons besides in development mode. Like, we're not going to do it with any code, I don't think. Why does it have that line on it? It looks kind of close. Let's just deal with it for now, and if we don't like it, we can fix it later. What was the thing? There's gonna be a lot of fixing later. There's gonna be like a lot of beautification and shit later. We'll go 60 with this one, and we'll go 90 with this one, and we'll actually probably want to move everything over to the right some more. But let's fix all of their text first. Yeah, we're gonna spend like many hours later fixing all of the beautification. Right now we want it just to work. And we'll have to probably hire someone to do art for it. Not much of an artist. Okay, so we want 1x, 2x, 4x, 8x. So what I would like to do though is move all of these things to the side. Kind of a lie. It may seem like I was sitting there in complete silence, but I wasn't. I don't like that. What is this? What is this number at? 35, 65. Like I said, I'm like a sucker for everything being some sort of exact thing. I don't like these. 125. How's that look? Looks pretty good. Looks like this is a little farther off, or this is closer, but I mean, we're gonna beautify this later. And then we want, and we can actually move this whole thing a little bit. We want also a new text field called current time speed. So we want the computer, you know, the person to know what. We can just say speed. That seems like really large letters. You know that half-assed stuff? You know, I made the day a different size though. What did I make it? 30 or something? I think I made it 30. And then we wanted this to be centered this way. Really? No, this has some weird shit going on. 50, -50, -4. How about just 0? And width. Look at that. You can't have that. You can have what? Not 2,000, 200. All right, go back to this game. And there's no 0. Do we need a 0 in there? I think we need a 0. Just in case someone wants. Yeah, this is just what should be current speed. Just in case someone wants to click a button up there instead of use the spacebar. Just in case they're a fucking barbarian. Click a button over using the spacebar. Okay. Oops. 0. The problem with that, though, is it's going to say 0. It's a button. It will be fine. And we'll put this up here. We're going to put this at 5, though. And then we're going to change the text on it. And we're going to go to here. There's a lot of repetitive shit in making video games. And that speed can still sit there. We just need this text box. Wherever current speed text. All right, so back to this puppy right here. We're gonna need another serialized field. Text Mesh Pro. Current speed text. Are we putting all this shit right in here? I guess so. I like to laugh at myself while I'm programming. Like, really? This is what you're doing? All right, whatever. Especially when it's 5:15 in the morning. We'll put it down here. This is not the way to do this, though, I don't think. But, no, it's fine, actually. It's fine for right now. Because we might need to change all of this shit later. So for right now, it's fine. And we're going to have... We're going to have a variable eventually that's going to go in here. That's going to be called... current speed. What's your problem? Oh, I keep doing this today. Integer is why I'm leaving out what you're declaring. You gotta have that it's private, then you gotta declare what type of variable it is. I don't know if I'm using the right words there. And then we'll say current speed. And then we gotta have, let's see what it says under current speed. Well, it needs to be 1 to start with. Equals 1. And I gotta remember how to do this other part. It's under, so I have this exact same, well, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar setup it's the time changer. So what I'm looking at is this over here. This shit's also in this is also an update. We're not going to do this in update. Oh, we might have to do it in update. Huh. Okay, if options equals true, modified. Okay, that's a different thing. We're not going to do that. Not right now, at least. On enable. Why do we have these controls in here? Is that really necessary? Necessary? Controls enable. Gotta decipher my... Oh, right. So this is because I did 2 separate... These are 2 different tutorials that I merged together. Cursor.lockState. Alright, so this is how I actually confine... Remember I was talking about confine stuff? This is how I confine the cursor in the game area. It's right here. Like, literally, it's... I think that's the whole thing, and it does it on a wait. And that's why I was saying it could take a real programmer 5 minutes to do that. On that one game, I was complaining about how my cursor kept going off the screen. Wonder why I did it this way. Private UI controls. Time scale. So this is how you do the time scale. It's right here. So we actually do I have my buttons in here. Yeah, so these controls are probably for the space bar. Yeah, pause with space. This is code I wrote. I can tell because of the thing. Then function name. Or at least I did something here. So anyways, back to this. This is really simple. All we're doing, we're gonna copy this shit over for the basic part, and we'll leave it in the clock or in the timekeeper section. We might tear it out later. I might have to. No, I don't need to put this in here. So we're gonna, yeah, we already have it on controls. So we're gonna leave this in here. Sometimes I'll build up one script will start getting pretty long, and then I'll break it into smaller pieces. Once again, probably a real programmer wouldn't do that. But we're gonna add this code here because it's just buttons. We don't need to do. So yeah, I absolutely don't know what this is. That's me copying something with the plus equals underscore arrow. I mean, we can do that. Maybe we'll try to do it a better way though. That was from a Samyam tutorial. I remember this specifically. This is from a Samyam tutorial. I can't remember where the other parts of this is from. Anyways, so what we're gonna do in this one, because I'm getting sidetracked again, is we're gonna have buttons. The buttons are gonna call functions in here. So we're gonna do a new function, and we'll copy over like the first function. So we want, so we need something called modified time scale. So we're gonna have something, and it looks like we're using an integer, and we have a range set into it too, right here, 0 to 4. Wonder why I did a range. Public static. We're gonna make it a private one until we need it to be public. Private. Actually, we'll do a serialized field for now because we might want to change it. I don't need it to be a static, and we're gonna call it modified time scale, and we're gonna equal to 1 for right now. And this is once again, I forgot to put in the thing. It's an integer, and then down here we're going to have I'm looking at my other code to make sure I'm doing this. Where did I put this? Okay, so on here, what I'm doing is, so time.timescale is the thing. The time scale, this is already built into Unity. So how we can change the time, so we can speed up and lower time just by telling it, 2 is twice as fast, 4 is twice as fast, and that's already just built in. And so that's what we're doing, and we're doing this in update. Probably don't want to do that in update. We can probably do that a different way. So we're going to change that added to update at some point. But right now we'll just stick it in update like a bunch of amateurs. So there we go. So whenever we change the variable modified time scale, it's going to change the time scale that Unity is already keeping track of. So that's why this is so easy. And that's why I kept saying that, why is this one static? I'm going to put a note. I'm looking at my code over here. Why is this one static and the other ones aren't? I don't know. Like, if it works, if a tutorial had me throw something together and it works and I never have to fuck with it again, sometimes it just never gets fucked with again. And this is the first time it's seen the light of day. Speed, let's call this actually time speed x0. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make this button, and then we're going to do this equals 0. Yeah, I think we can call this a getter setter. In fact, we should turn this into a getter setter, but let's first make sure this works. Getter setter property, that's what it's called. And so then we want the debug log to print that out. We don't want this debug log to printing all the time because that will just fill our logs with shit. So here we go. And I'm going to take a smoke break after we hit play. Ow. Good God. My fucking shoulder, man. It's like it's if I'm fine as long as I don't sit and use a computer. And that's like my jobs and my job and my hobby. Oh, hey, we got a bug. All right, we got to put something in here. We forgot something. Current speed text, which is right here. Which is right here. There we go. The reason it's airing out so badly is because we have that in update. Okay, so we didn't attach the button. So nothing is going to work. So this button, we got to go down here. We got to get hit plus. We're getting the code from the controller game object. We're going to go down to timekeeper and we're going to have time x0. We're going to hit plus or play. We're going to hit some buttons and they're going to play. Oh my God. And we're going to hit this button and see time has now stopped. But because we don't have another button that works, that's all we can do. All we can do right now is stop time. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. Let me throw out my break timer. I do not know what to do. I guess I might have to go to a doctor. I'm so used to, being younger where minor injuries. Where's my break timer is missing? Minor injuries wouldn't be this issue. What the fuck is my break timer? I turned it on. Order, move to top. It looks like it's been dragged off the screen. Oh, sure enough, it has. Okay. All right, I'll be back in less than 5 minutes. All right. I was thinking about something when I was outside. I basically booby trapped myself. So I'm going to put that in my comments right here. Booby trapped yourself, you fool. All right. Because at some time I'm going to not remember we did this. Anyways, we just got to make we got to make some more buttons here. These will be cake. They have to be public because the buttons are accessing them. Otherwise, we'd make that private. We could actually make this thing private. Let's do it and see what happens. I always make all my functions public for some dumb reason. And then we'll make this a couple of times here. I think that's enough. 2. No, we need one more. 1, 2, 4, 8. Come here. 8. 8. What? 8. 4, 2, 1. Boom. This will print in the debug log that we're, oh, except we want to say what we changed it to. I guess I could have just copied all of this code from my other thing. I don't have a times 8 in my other one, but we probably should. And we'll just get rid of this. No, we'll leave it there for now, just in case we need to check and update for some fucking reason. We'll go back to here. We're going to set all these buttons to actually do something. Controller's got to be dragged over here. And we're going to go to times 1. And we're going to go controller. I guess we could have made the buttons now so that parts of this would be done already. Times 2. Because we'd be duplicating the other. We wouldn't have to drag this over so many times. Laziness is my main thing here. It's my main attribute. So I try to do everything as lazy as possible. So I should have probably made these buttons at the end so I didn't have to, whoops, drag these. See, now I fucked that up. Drag these over here. I can't. Can I scroll down? Thank you. Times 8. Okay. So now, oh, we never added the speed to show what speed we're at. We can do that though. We'll do that first. Wrong one. This is going to be, we already put this in here, plus current speed. Do we need current speed? I don't think we need current speed. We can just say plus modified time scale. Oh, it doesn't care that that's a number? I guess because of this. All right. I was going to say toString on the end there. All right. So this should start right off the bat here with time going. Day 0. Bam, we should probably put some years and shit in here at some point. So times 1 shouldn't do anything. That looks like the time's passing about the same. It shouldn't do anything because it's already at 1. We can do time, we know we're at 0 now. That changed, speed is 0. Time's not moving. Let's go to 8. This didn't update. Something didn't work. Something's broken. It's probably something dumb. Modified time. Scale. Oh, it's broken. I think it's this fixed. I think it's this thing. Maybe we will. Because once it's paused, I can't remember. I can't remember why it has to be that. That's why I wanted that to be broken, was so we could remember. This might be why, though. Or there's something else going on. All right, let's go times 2, times 4, times 0. I think it's because it's paused. Yeah, it's not the fixed thing. It's because it's paused. We have to there's something wrong with our pause action here. So when we set it to 0, we never seem to be able to get back from 0. So we got to figure out why that is. Time scale equals modified fixed update. We have to have this as 0 because this can't be a null value. That's just yeah, we need that as 1 to the beginning at the beginning too, so that when you start the game it goes to that. Ticks. So what is sticking on this? Is it because the clock doesn't really matter? The clock is just keeping track of time for humans to read it, you know? I think it's because it's paused. What did I do here? Over here, I'm looking at this thing. This is just some pause. This is, and we probably want this too, actually. We want a thing that says, you know, the game is paused. That's actually a pet peeve of mine is when you set a game and it doesn't say that it's paused because sometimes I'm waiting patiently. So I want we want a big pause thing on there. So what does our debug say here? We get a debug. The modified scale is working. Why isn't that kicking back over? It's got to have something to do with. All right, so it's set it that. We can get it to 2. Does that look like it's going to? Yeah, it does. Let's go to 8. It's going really fast. But when we go to 0, we can never go back. 0, and it says it's changed to 1. But if it's changed to 1, then why the fuck isn't it going? Making sure I'm not missing any, you know, like this is a different variable or something. No, it's speed 1, 1. Speed equals that, and that, so wait. Was that changing? We put this to 0. So something else is changing it back to 0 is what's happening. I'm pretty sure something is immediately changing it back to 0. Or, like I said, because it's paused. No, because this is, no, something's immediately changing it back to, whoop, now we're looking at the wrong code. Something's immediately changing it back to 0 is what's happening. Because so we hit this, so like when I click this speed 1, this changes, the debug log prints out, if we look at this, that it changed to 1, but this speed never changes back, and we can, here, I'll pause it instead of exiting. So we can look at this here. We go to 0, we hit 1, and even though the modified scale has changed to 1, this still says 0. We can't see it change fast. You know that it changes faster, too fast. It's getting changed back to 0 at something. Something is changing it back to 0, but what? Only thing that affects that is this thing. What happens if we just turn this off temporarily? Oh, we can't though. The reason why we can't is because we need to be able to pause the game with it. What the fuck would be changing it back to 0? Or maybe it's just because it's paused. Is there anything in the clock that's doing it? I'm gonna look at my other code again. Maybe there's some that's just that throws up the, so this one would be a thing we would definitely do a getter setter for this is for if we want the game to be paused at start, which is we're not using that. This is where we probably do want this, but we're not using it. I don't know why this is static. Oh, I do know why that's static. Range. Wonder why I have a range there. What did we do on this other one? Starts at 1. That's what we want. I wonder why I have a range in there. Is it a serialized? Is it so that I can not? It's an integer. There's something else going on. Let's unpause this thing. Look at our buttons. Did I fuck something up with the buttons? Time speed 0. 1. Is there like another button component? Time speed 8. So it wasn't this. This wasn't the thing. What happens if we get rid of the clock temporarily? We'll be able to tell if the time changes by, oh, we won't be able to tell. We can put, actually, this is what we should do in it. A lot of times it's just a good idea to throw some debug log if you're having issues like I am right now. Modified time. And then we can see when this doesn't come back. Private member timekeeper.clock. Oh, let's talk about that. Like, what? What did I just do? Okay. So it's going to be printing out, and we can collapse this shit. All right. Let's collapse that. Let's push 2. So it's doing 2. Let's push 0. That's set to 0. Okay, no, it is. It is because, see, nothing's getting updated here. See, this should be counting. Let's do this again, just to make sure that I'm understanding this right. It's when we pause it, it can't unpause. Modify time equals 0 or 1. Yeah, it stops counting the minute we put it at 0. That's not an issue that my other game has, I don't think. We can let's look at the other one. Give me the other one. Here we go. Maybe that's a new thing with the update, and I got to figure out a workaround here. We just want to look at time. Oh, I have this maximized. We just want to look at the time going by. 1:12. Yeah, this one comes back on. So weird. See, my mouse is confined. Speaking of the confining thing, so what am I doing? Let's Google it here in a second. Is that one not in fixed update? Time. Oh, I think we're onto something here. I think fixed update is the issue. It is the issue. So fixed update. Oh, and then remember right at the beginning I was saying like certain things are affected and certain aren't. Certain things aren't. I think the issue is that was in fixed update, and a fixed update freezes everything. I think that's the issue. See, learning something new every day, or relearning something new. I'm almost positive that's it. I should have turned the clock back on. Time skill 0. Yeah, see now time's ticking. That's the issue. So when we want stuff to be paused by the game, we put it in fixed update. When we don't want it to be paused by the game, we put it in update. Gotta remember that. I'm not gonna remember that, but we gotta remember that. Okay, we can put the clock back in action. It's called debugging. Luckily I have all this other code I can reference. At some point we're not gonna have that. Right now, though, we do. Just double checking here, and then the clock also works. So we got the clock. Speed is at 1. Speed goes to 2. Speed goes to 0. This is still counting up here, so we know it's working. Go to 8. Go back to 1. Okay, so we should put that same thing in, though. I think we definitely want a pause button to appear here. Or a pause text. So we're going to do a UI. And we're going to say paused text. And we're just going to actually say this here. I don't, oh, it's up here. It's right there. That actually isn't a bad spot for it. Let's actually leave it there. I was going to have it here in the middle, but no, let's leave it there. Let's just make it, whoops. Let's make it in the center. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this thing, even though that looks weird as fuck. I wanted this thing. And 36 is fine. And then we're going to go back to here. And we don't need this anymore. We'll just in case we need it in a minute. And so what I was doing was I was putting an update. Like I said, we don't want things in update, and I just figured out how to do getter setter things. So I think this is what we're going to do instead. We're going to set up a getter setter. I've only done this one time, and it was in a different thing, but we're gonna set it up here. Actually, does it go up here? I'm not sure. So I've only done this in one time, this one time, but I think it will be useful. And it's under, which one did I do it in? Maybe this one. I didn't need to compare it. I don't think I can do it off the top of my head. And then once we have the getter setter set up, we actually might be able to do the time scale on the getter setter, but and once I have that set up, I think that's all I'm going to do tonight. I was going to try to get some more stuff, but man, it hurts to sit. I got to figure out what's going on, and I hate going to the doctor because it's expensive, and they give you shit. I was actually telling someone I played poker Wednesday night with some friends. I actually won. $100. Anyways, I was telling one of them that I went to the doctor for something else, and I told him that I'd been sleeping a bunch, and this isn't like a joke. It sounds like I'm setting up a joke, but I'm not. I told him I was sleeping a bunch, and the doctor was like, well, how much? And I was like, 16 hours a day, because at the time I was. And he's like, don't worry about it. Just like, what? You don't want to, like, check for fucking cancer or something? Tumors? Nah, don't worry about it, man. All right. So I didn't worry about it anymore. You know what? I can probably just find an example of a getter setter online. C# getter setter. I just need to look at one. I need one to compare it to make sure I'm doing it right. What is this shit? No, I don't want that. Class student. What you write, what the compiler sees. Yeah, I don't need that. I need like this. Class. I want one that looks the way I want it. Does it look? I want it to look like. I hate that. I hate when these fucking people do. I'm gonna probably use this, but I absolutely fucking hate when the code says foo and bar. Absolutely hate it. Someone will every code, man. Just don't type out your shit with foo and bar in it, man. It's such a bunch of bullshit. Use real life examples so that it's easier for people with my brain type to understand. Look, this thing is still going down there. Let's see if this is the one. I don't think it was this one. In fact, I know it. I know it now that I think about it. I know it's not this one. This is like has no code written yet. We'll open this one while we wait. It's a real-time Gladiator. Public. Private. Public. Okay, this is. Yeah, this has enough for me to understand how this works. Okay, so if we go back to here. Fuck your foo and bar. It's just so dumb. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh wait. Yeah, he doesn't. All right, I'm gonna bitch about this guy's stuff a bunch. Make this also look pretty, man. Don't jam it all in here into one line. You don't work for Elon Musk. Wait, Elon Musk wants the opposite. He wants it the way I want it. Don't jam it all into one line though. I hate this shit. And you're always, and then like, this makes sense because that's like a thing of getter setters. But this is just I'm not upset about. This is just when you look at Stack Overflow, you run into the pro guys who are helpful and they answer the question, but their code is decipherable. They use all this stupid shit like foo and bar, and they think they're so clever. And I wish they would just write it out with real world examples. Like this makes sense, and this guy probably explains it right here. That this is like the standard setting. Don't do this though. I hate when they do this. I hate it. And there was one guy who was like, in the middle of his code, he's like, and here I started just using nullables. So just copy the code. We can't explain it unless you know what a nullable is. Anyway, I like to bitch and moan about everything. Let's put this. I'm gonna put this actually. We're gonna do it with modified timescale. So this is gonna. We're also going to want to rename this right now because we use this a bunch. We're gonna put a capital M here. And I know what you're thinking. Why a capital M? Because a capital shows that if it's not you're using a getter setter. And this actually has to be, I'm referencing here. This actually has to be public. So what you want to do is you want it, like this is the new variable. That's why I changed it to here. So everything you want to be referencing is this new variable. But the real variable, actually, I don't even think this can be a serialized field. That's okay. We don't need it to be a serialized field. The real variable is a private one. And in this, and you're supposed to do it the same word. So you're supposed to do it the same word. And I don't know where you put the getter and setter. Like if it's supposed, like when I say where, I mean, is it supposed to be up here or if it's supposed to be down here with your functions? I don't know. So modified timescale is the real variable and it should be private. And then with the public int, this is going to be the one everyone else accesses. When I say everyone else, like this things that modifies it get accessed here. But then you'd put this thing here, and you say get, and you do this. You don't put it in one big line because we're not a bunch of assholes. And so get means the person who reads it, we're gonna give them back modified time, which is this real variable here. This is just the one that everyone accesses. So if they want to read it, they can read it here. And then setter, if you were to leave off this set right here, this variable will now be read only. But we want them to be able to change it. So we're just gonna have, and this is where it gets weird. Modified scale equals value, right? In value, and I'm explaining something I barely understand, so forgive me. So this is the real variable right here. This thing has the real variable inside of it, but we want everyone to access this one with the capital letter. And so that's why I changed this originally to the capital, so that all of these are accessing the capital letter now. The getter part, which is the get part, is them trying to read that variable, and we want them to return the real variable there, and if they want them to set the variable, so if they're accessing this here, which is when we're changing it to 0, they're setting the variable, we're giving them a value, which is this value, and we're setting it here, which we're setting this variable. But the joy of these things is you can say inside the setter part, or maybe even inside the getter part, I don't know, you can put a little if statement in here. And so what we're going to say, you know what we probably could do is cut that. Let's see what happens if we just do that. Let's just see. I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Then we can take that out of update. And look at all this shit I got open. Let's close that one. We don't need that shit open. We don't need that shit open either more. Let's see what happens. I don't know what I'm doing. And we'll see if this gets changed. Or if the time changes, actually. Oh, I pushed 1. 1 isn't going to do anything. I mean, that looks faster. That's definitely way faster. So that works. What happens if we put 0? Can we change it back afterwards? Oh, fuck yeah, we can. All right, so what we did... I'm so excited. I got a fucking erection right now. Anyways, so now we don't have that in update. We don't need that shit in update anymore. So that's one less thing that's in update. We don't want shit in update. The reason why we don't want shit in update is update gets checked every frame. So the less shit you have in there, the better. So first off, we got this thing out of fucking update, which makes me happy. Every time that the thing is modified now, the time is modified, it's using the getter setter. It's saying like, look, when the value changes for modified scale, do this thing. But we also can do, and I already forgot what reason I was doing this getter setter. Oh, we're gonna open up. We're gonna. Oh, I didn't put it on here yet. We're gonna change. We're gonna put the paused thing up. So we're gonna need a serialized field here. You know, I forgot to put private in here. This is another pet peeve I have for tutorials. Man, if you're gonna write a tutorial, put all this stuff in. They're so lazy. I know that the poor Stack Overflow guys are doing it for free and shit, and they're just community members, but put like the private and stuff in here. Man, because when you're new, that can be baffling as fuck. You're like, was it private or public? And then, you know, if I was to ask for that in Stack Overflow, I'd get a lecture about how I'm already supposed to know that shit. But whatever. Just, come on, guys. Anyway, so we're going to do a private Text Mesh Pro UGUI, and this is going to be paused text. And so on this thing that I was whining about here, on this one, it isn't that bad that it's foobar, but when there's long examples like this, well, this one isn't that long either, but when there's long examples and all of the variables are like I and foobar, it's so confusing, especially the newer you are. Just use real world examples. And I actually don't like when these are. I like all my game objects that I'm calling in one little group here. And so we have this pause text. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to say if modified timescale. Nope. Oh wait, this worked, but I don't think that should have worked actually. Huh. I'm gonna change this to lowercase. Just we'll see what happens. Actually, let's double check. That should have been lowercase. Let's double check that works still. Yeah, I've looked at so many tutorials and Stack Overflow and stuff that whoops, that's accidentally still on. That for the love of God, I have so many opinions about tutorials now. All right, time's flowing, time's not flowing, time's flowing. Perfect. That's all we had to double check. We'll turn off this pause thing, so we don't need that turned on. We want it to only. So what we want to do is we want that to only turn on if. And I think this actually should be. I think all of these should be value, but it doesn't matter. If modified timescale is equal to. Oh, I got a typo in here. Is equal to 0, then we're going to say. Oh, this should be a game object. I don't think we can set this active. Yeah, we can't set this active. Game object. Pause text. Oh, paused. I don't want this to be set text in there. And sometimes I actually just leave that if it's just a game object. I just leave that as. I don't put game object at the end. Almost everything else I do put what they are. True. And then we can do down here. Else. False. Boom. So this is all. So this is not being called in update. It's only happening when this is being changed. So when someone changes this, when something changes this, like with these buttons down here, it's gonna do this. It's gonna be set, and it's gonna, what it gives you is the value, and the value we're changing modified. When this is being set, we're changing modified timescale, which is this here. Modified timescale is here, and we actually could probably. Well, no, that's fine. Whatever. We want this game object to set true and false depending on if the time is 0 or not. Man, my shoulder is killing me. So we want that turned off, but then we also need to put it over here. I really should have called that game object though. And oh, this isn't. Whatever. It should work. It should work. It wouldn't let me put it in there if it didn't know it, if it was the wrong thing. We can fix that later. I cannot believe how much my shoulder is fucked up. I'm going to have to learn how to type one-handed and sit like this. Anyways, time is passing. If we hit this button, it should turn on the pause thing. It didn't. Oh, because we're still at 1. There we go. It's paused. Now it should go away if we... There we go. And that's not an update. So we're going to be using these getters and setter thing a lot. Yeah, so any speed, pause doesn't come up. 0, pause does. We're going to be using this getter setter thing a lot because I try to never put anything in update. If you see me sitting all weird, it's because of my arm behind my back. It's just how it is, man. Yeah, I'm going to have to call it a night. I guess I got to go to the doctor. What a fucking pain in the ass. I keep thinking it will heal, and then it doesn't. But yeah, we probably... Can I do it right now? Is there a way we can make this clock? The clock might have to be an update though, actually, because it's actually being checked every frame. I thought I had to be in fixed update though, so that it wasn't wobbly. Let's put it in fixed update. Since we don't have the thing in there anymore, We don't have the modified timescale in there anymore. Because I think what happens is, so basically I think what they use mostly for fixed update is to make animations smooth instead of, because your frame rate, so it's getting called every frame, but your frame rate varies a lot, as you probably know if you've ever played a video game. Like sometimes your frame rate's, it's 60 and sometimes it's at 120, 190, whatever. So fixed update just mellows that out into a set thing. And I think we want the clock to be on the set thing, not on something else. And I think the clock, there's not really much we can do about this current speed thing we could change. We could get out of here. And get that out of here. And we can put it up in the getter setter thing right here. I love these. Like I said, I just figured out how to do this, and I've been using, fucking around with Unity now for like over a year. I go through spurts of programming where I program like every day for a month, and then I don't do anything for 2 months. So, and I just learned about this, so there's probably all sorts of shit that I don't know about. But yeah, so that's it. So I'm gonna call it a night on that, or a morning, 6 a.m. I wish the coffee shop was open. The coffee shop at my house has been closed because of Christmas and New Year's. But what we did is we got time. It doesn't really. It's not going to be day one. Let's maximize this and look at it one last time. Let's look at all the glory of what we've done. Oh, we also got to fix that other thing. Oh, there's another thing I want to do before I end. All right, so we got time, day 0. I don't know about that comma. Fuck that comma. Let's get rid of that comma. It looks dumb as shit. Where was that thing? We'll just put a space in here. I think I just forgot the plus button earlier. Save that. We'll go back to here. All right, day 0, the time is ticking. We get the different speeds. We can go to 0 and it tells us it's paused. We can go to 1, goes back. Speed's going much faster. Much faster. Like a maniac. Back to 0. Pause still works. I'm still clicking 0, so pause still works. I didn't check, but yeah, that's still keeping the right thing. And does this still work? Yep. Man, if my shoulder didn't hurt, I would definitely keep doing this. And the reason why we added population as a thing on the list is on the actual, it's a dictionary list. It's just so we can tell that this is working where we can't see these because they aren't our provinces. Create unit. That still works from yesterday. We can still click on it. We probably should have clear this out and have a unit name, but we're actually not going to call it a unit. We're going to go to armies. But we'll do that next time. So the final thing I wanted to do, because I didn't do it last time, and I want to do this every time, is commit this stuff. And I'm just going to put in here to GitHub. I'm going to put in, and I want to change the branch, though. Do I want to change the branch? Are we going to be doing any more time stuff next time? Time stuff next time. Let's look at our list. Let's get it out of here. Unit movement, province improvements, combat. How to figure it? This should be at the bottom, man. We'll do that shit last. I hate doing like the UI stuff. Keep track of time. This is done. We'd finish this. We're going to just close the issue. It's done. Is that closing? Yeah, it takes a second. Next time I think we'll do unit movement, which I was hoping to get to. I was hoping the minute I start like using my left arm, I'm left-handed too, so it's even worse. My shoulder starts killing me again. I switched back to my other chair and it still kills me. I don't know. I'm just gonna whine about my fuck. I'm gonna use the word whine a bunch today too. I think unit movement is what we'll do next. Oh, I didn't add espionage in here. Espionage. That's not how you spell that. Espionage. espionage. There we go. We want espionage to be in here too. Good God. As we think of stuff, we're gonna have like farming, and that's gonna be kind of like province improvements. We'll probably want to break province improvements down at some point into smaller chunks, but we'll do one province improvement first just to make it sure it works. Like I said, all of this stuff is just gonna be like the very basic minimum of things. But yeah, so I think unit movement is next. So what I like to do when I push stuff to GitHub is I like to close Unity ahead of time, because it tries to add a bunch of shit. Even if you do the Unity ignores, things change when you close it. I found, not every time, but sometimes I notice like some weird shit over here will change, like one of these things. But now I'm going to commit this. I think I'm going to commit it straight to the master. If we hadn't finished this, I would do a branch, but you're not normally supposed to commit it straight to the master, but I'm going to do that because I'm a fool. We already talked about that. It says right here, you fool. That's me. Timekeeper is working. And complete. I should put that in quotes. Complete. And we will commit it. And then we will push it. And then that's it for me tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. What did this say? Uh-oh. Pull then push. It's because I merged something, or oh, you know what I did is I changed the name of it. Instead of it being, I took out the real-time thing. Or I did something. I don't know. All this stuff is here, at least. I feel like this shouldn't be up here. I feel like this shouldn't be up where you put the variables. But I don't know where to put it. But that's it for me. Thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good night or morning. Bye.